You're listening to the Telltale Channel. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check out my Patreon. And take a look at my other YouTube channels too. You can find some ad-free, uncensored, complete versions of my videos on my website, owenmorgan.com. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for my email list to get early access to everything I release. All links are in the description. In this podcast, the far right is very upset to find that Trans Visibility Day, which has existed for 15 years at least, overlapped with Easter this year. Wokists struck again to make this happen. Can't be coincidence. It won't happen again until 2086, but you can bet they planned that one too. Elijah Schaffer is wild. He used to be part of a big network of conservative voices. Now I think he's flying solo. He popped off with some stuff you wouldn't even believe. Let's talk about it. Prophet of God and Trump pastor Hank Kunneman got his start praying for Trump to win the election. Let's take a look back at some of the wild stuff this guy has said. I found some clips from like 6 years ago. This guy is something else. I added some new sounds to my soundboard, okay? So this is probably one of the more famous ones.
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas. Facebook just makes people think I'm smart.
That's Greg Locke. And he, I don't like to insult people. That's like not my thing at all. I don't like doing it. Lowbrow, and I'm in a position of influence, and I just don't think it's right to insult people, really, in all seriousness. So I let Greg do it for me, and I also let Shane Vaughn do it for me.
I've lived for the Lord my whole life, and I was dumb as a box of rocks and didn't know it.
I have a couple of others, and they're a little bit longer, so let me play the brand new ones that I just added, okay? And there's a reason I've been stalling and playing them last, and it's because they have swears in them. And if I put swears at the beginning of a video, then YouTube, they're not a fan of that. So I feel now I'm pretty comfortable playing it. So check this out.
We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
I got that one. Took me 10 minutes to add these. And here's another one.
Thing sucks.
I love it to death, dude. If we could cover just that video every day, I would be so happy. But we can't, because you can only cover the same thing so many times. So if you're unaware of it, if you've never heard of it or whatever, it's a famous meme at this point, and it's Bill O'Reilly. He was on Inside Edition. He was the anchor there. It's before he was a right-wing nutcase, extremist, stochastic terrorist. He was viewed more moderately. Basically, I guess they do some taping ahead of time and put it on air, and it's kind of a hybrid thing. Some of it is live, some of it's not. And the part where Bill O'Reilly ends the show and gives it off to Sting, the band Sting, I guess that's where Bill O'Reilly kind of got hung up with the teleprompter. Just listen for a second here.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
No, there it is. We are going to do...
It says something to the effect of, to play us out, we're going to have a clip from Sting off his new album. Something to that effect. Now, being in the industry for so long, I mean, this dude was he's been a reporter for 10, 15, 20 years at this point, maybe. I don't know. Long time on the ground, and then moved into the anchor position and did deep dives and everything. Had he never heard the term to play us out before? This is really the first time he's ever heard that term?
Sting, yeah.
Okay, but...
And his complaint here is that the teleprompter says, to play us out, here's a clip of Sting, or cut off his new album or whatever. And he doesn't know what it means.
No, there it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
Okay, but... Now, I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay. Sure.
There's no words there. To play us out.
Oh, there are words there, as it turns out. They're just words that you, for some reason, insist on pretending you've never heard before. Such a douchebag, dude, really. How is somebody this much of a douchebag?
Sure.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean, to play us out?
The The f do you think that means, Bill? Really? You don't know what to play us out means? A reporter for 10, 15 years and all that news anchor and everything, and your experience has not granted you the knowledge yet to understand the term to play us out? Are you fucking kidding me?
Sting is going to do, it's a video, Sting video.
What is...
For credits.
I don't know what that means, to play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, he did it all by himself. He figured it out. Nobody had to contribute or explain. He just figured it out. You know, he sat there screaming at people for 41 seconds about how he didn't know what it meant, and that's all it took. You know, it just took him 41 seconds of screaming to get it. That's all it took. Now he gets, to end the show. Okay, that's what it means. I'm sorry. No, that's the thing. He doesn't offer an apology to these people.
Video.
What is...
For credits.
I don't know what that means, to play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah.
Like, he knew the whole time, obviously. He just wanted to be a shithead, right?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
Okay. In 5.
Dude, I've been there. I just recorded my audiobook for, God, dude, 30 hours I recorded, but it's ultimately going to be like way shorter, like 10, 12 hours maybe of audiobook, but 30 hours of footage, and that's just the that I kept so that I can, because I repeated the same thing over and over again to get the correct tonality and everything, you know, and I'm going to have to edit that about 3 times as long as to edit as footage I have. So every hour of footage I have, it takes 3 hours to edit. 30 hours of footage, it's going to take me 90 hours to edit that. And I already have a full plate, so I'm going to, like, God, the audiobooks, you know what? I'm going to burn through that, though, man. I'm going to do everything I can to have that done next week, maybe. We'll see. It just depends. I mean, I'm already way behind on, like, way behind from recording. Spending 30 hours or 40 hours recording, that set me way behind. But, you know, the point is I've been there. Sometimes you got to get the tone right. That's okay. Just do a retake. No big deal. Can be frustrating. That's fine. Do a retake.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
Okay. In 5,
But you have to acknowledge it's on you.
4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a... I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live.
Dude, I love it.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
I love everything about it. It's so fantastic. He's so angry. And I've said this because I've talked about this clip like multiple times now, but it really brings me joy to watch. But what really gets me, like when I watch this clip, is watching his little hair floof in the front go up and down, and he says he's yelling and getting angry.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it.
Now watch the hair floof. He's about to do the, it. He's about to do that. Watch the hair floof.
Do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. It.
Do you see the hair floof go? I love it, dude.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
No.
We'll do it live. It.
I love it to death.
And thing sucks.
And that's where my other soundboard sound came from.
And thing sucks.
Oh my god, I love it to death. I swear, like, I could be in the deepest, like, darkest state of depression. Lost my dog and I don't even have a dog. Lost my dog and my kid and my truck and lost my beer and my everything. Whatever country singers complain about losing, I could lose all of that. And I could hear Bill O'Reilly yelling,
And thing sucks.
and it would bring joy to my heart. For real. Oh, I love it. Okay, keep listening.
Write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks.
In
The hair floof again.
5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
Wow, check that out. He did it all by himself. That's really impressive. Oh, it's not over, though. There's more footage. He throws his pen, rips his jacket off. Well, I don't know I don't know what he did next. He did something, grabbed something, but oh my God. Anger issues much? Chill out, bro. It's not that big of a deal. You have any idea how many times I repeated the same sentence for my book when I was recording? A lot. 5 or 6 sometimes. Sometimes you gotta get it just right. That's okay. Sometimes it's frustrating. That's okay too. But harassing and mistreating people around you and throwing shit and saying
Fucking thing sucks.
and
We'll do it live. F- it. Do it live.
and then just and obstinately refusing to understand something that is common knowledge, certainly in the news industry. Like, you can't do that, man. Don't be a Bill O'Reilly, okay? And he throws his pen, rips that jacket off, so angry. Oh, man, that's not the only... okay, we're not here to talk about Bill O'Reilly. I could go down a whole Bill O'Reilly rabbit hole, but we're not here to do that today. Ugh, I just love that clip to death, man. Next up, the far right is very upset to find that Trans Visibility Day, which has existed for 15 years at least, overlapped with Easter this year. Wokeists struck again to make this happen. Can't be coincidence. It won't happen again until 2086, but you can bet they planned that one too. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon and check out my website and email list for early access to uncensored, ad-free, complete videos. All links are in the description. I usually start out my videos by, playing an intro video that's absolutely insane. In this case, we're talking about Trans Visibility Day overlapping with Easter and the insane reaction that ensued. I don't have a video to play for you, so I figured I'd play a video of Madison Cawthorn, previous member of House of Representatives, punching a rotten tree to show how tough he is. Boy, this guy is tough, isn't he? I didn't know that Madison Cawthorn was this tough. Now I know. Thank you, Madison Cawthorn, for making it clear how tough you are by punching this rotten tree. That's really nice of him to clarify for us. I was worried. Anyway, dumb as dog. Okay, so let's get to the point here. Talk about Trans Visibility Day. This is a Hemant Mehta article on the subject. friendlyatheists.com, I believe. He's got a Substack. Anyway, Hemant Mehta, really nice guy. He wrote the foreword to my book. Check out my book if you want to take a look. It's, Kindle and all those other places. owenmorgan.com/book is probably the best place to get it. Title of this article is Prominent Christians Falsely Claim Biden Chose Easter to Honor Trans People. Now, Transgender Day of Visibility is what it's called. I think it's existed for 15 years or something like that. And since 2021, since Biden has had control of the POTUS Twitter account, he's posted Happy Trans Visibility Day on March 31st. Try a shout out for trans people. It's nice. It's good, right? Well, it overlapped with Easter this year. It won't happen again until 2086. And people went absolutely ape shit over it. Oh my God, dude. It was crazy, the reactions. Canceling Easter now. Oh, you're turning Easter woke. You're using our Christ's death and resurrection as blah, 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 blah. You know how they do. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Like, these people, get help, guys. When you are this pissed off about something that doesn't even affect you, literally at all, in any way, shape, or form, you've got to recognize something's wrong here. Something's wrong with this picture, right? You want to celebrate Easter. Celebrate Easter. Nobody's stopping you. And you know what? Even if Biden did name Easter Trans Visibility Day specifically, Easter changes every year. I don't know if people knew that or what. I don't know. Sometimes it's April 1st, sometimes April 4th, sometimes March 28th. I mean, it depends. This year, it was March 31st, which is Transvisibility Day. Even if Biden chose Easter as the day, every single year consistently. When is Easter 2025? Let's see. Easter 2025, out of curiosity, is... Wait. Oh, wait. 2025, it falls on April 20th. No way. That's awesome. Lots of people going to be blazing up, if you will, on Easter next year, 2025. 2026, it's April 5th. 2027, March 28th. 2028, it's April 16th. It changes from year to year. I don't know if people realize that. But, you know, even if Biden did name Easter, the holiday, as Transvisibility Day, he said, I'm erasing Easter as a federal holiday and I'm making it Transvisibility Day. Guess what? That doesn't affect you in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't affect you even a little bit. If you want to celebrate Easter, celebrate Easter. That's your right. You can do it. No one is stopping you. But that's not what happened anyway. It just so happened that Transvisibility Day fell on Easter this year. That's it. And people are losing their fucking minds over it. It is crazy. Well, the thing is about Easter, I grew up Jehovah's Witness. I didn't celebrate any holidays. They were all forbidden for their own reasons. Couldn't celebrate birthdays, couldn't celebrate Easter or Christmas or, God, I don't know, any of them. Literally no holidays, none. So when I left, I decided to celebrate all of them. I want to do what I wasn't allowed to do as a Jehovah's Witness. And Easter is one of the smaller, lesser known holidays. It's like more Christian-centric. It's not really secularized the way Christmas is. But I still get an Easter basket for my kid. And, you know, I always have. Easter basket, I'm completely unfamiliar with the lore of it because, you know, grew up Jehovah's Witness. I don't remember. I think, what is it? Is it the Tooth Bunny comes in and buys baskets for kids and uses the money from sales of the teeth that the Tooth Bunny gets. He sells the teeth to the Tooth Fairy. Right? So the Tooth Bunny makes money from tooth sales. And that he uses that, or she, this guy, gal, or non-binary pal who happens to be the Tooth Bunny. I think the Tooth Bunny buys the Easter baskets to give to kids, right? So ultimately, I think the money's coming from the Tooth Fairy. Does that sound right? I don't remember what the lore is. But anyway, unfortunately, the Tooth Bunny just passes right over my house, just doesn't give a shit, so I have to be the one to buy it. Maybe I'm not producing enough teeth. Maybe I need to grow more teeth and send them out. Put them under my pillow and stuff to appease the Tooth Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. Yeah, I don't know the lore. I didn't grow up with this stuff, guys. You grew up with it, so I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I just know I have to buy an Easter basket each year, that's all. So I just want to take a quick gander here at this article from Hemant Mehta, see what it had to say. He wrote this article March 31st, 2024. This is produced on Easter, Transvisibility Day. It says, today is the Transgender Day of Visibility. For 15 years, it's been a way to celebrate the trans community, as opposed to Transgender Day of Remembrance, which honors victims. For 15 years, the event has occurred on March 31st. President Joe Biden issued a proclamation celebrating the event, just as he did in 2021, 22, and 23, saying that trans people were part of the fabric of our nation and that we need to work toward eliminating violence and discrimination based on gender identity. Hard respect for that one. Hard respect. I can appreciate that Joe Biden is giving some visibility to the trans community. Really. It's really nice. Anyway, it continues here. This is Hemant Mehta speaking. Easter, on the other hand, falls on a different Sunday each year, sometime between late March and late April. This year, both events happen to fall on the same date. You know exactly where this is going. Conservative Christians are now acting like Biden selectively chose March 31st to honor trans people as a slap in the face to their faith, which is to say, his faith. Yeah, because Biden is Catholic. Like, devout Catholic. You know, during the Kennedy-Nixon campaign, I think it was in the, when was it, the 50s? I don't remember. Anyway, when Kennedy was running for president, there was this big thing like, he's Catholic. Is that going to interfere with his duties as president? Can he be Catholic and president at the same time? We have come a very weird direction and a long way down that weird direction to find ourselves where we are now, right? Oh my God. Like I said, Biden didn't do that. But if he did, it doesn't affect you in any way. Celebrate Easter if that's what you want to do. That is religious freedom. Your right to practice your religion the way that you want. Honestly, the government shouldn't be naming holidays like that, federal holidays. They shouldn't have Christmas listed as a federal holiday or whatever, Easter or any of the others, in my opinion. Thanksgiving, sure. That can be a federal holiday. You know why? Because it's based on the founding of the country. But religious federal holidays? No, I don't think so. I don't believe that should happen. Trans Day of Visibility? Absolutely agree with that being a day. It's not even like an official thing. It's just like, it's not a holiday, not a federal, nothing. It's just a day where we think about the fact that trans people are mistreated. That's it. That's a political issue and in Biden's purview. Should be something that Biden is talking about as the president of the federal government of the United States. It's something he should be talking about. Easter is a religious holiday. It's not something that Biden should be talking about. But of course he is, because he's devoutly Catholic. Not a battle I even want to fight. Whatever. You want to have your Easter's, your federal holiday, fine. But people can do whatever the hell they want on that day. I don't have to celebrate Easter if I don't want, and I can make this Trans Visibility Day, make my own Trans Visibility Day, March 31st, if I want to. Anyway, it says, Donald Trump's National Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt, Leavitt, never heard that name, demanded an apology from Biden and claimed this is part of a years-long assault on the Christian faith. Again, you can celebrate it to your heart's content. Celebrate Easter all you want. I don't care. Go nuts. No one is stopping you. But she doesn't, I guess, Carolyn Leavitt or whatever, she doesn't just want to celebrate Easter. She wants to impose Easter on others. She wants to force her religion onto other people, in addition to celebrating it. Part of her worship involves forcing you to worship also. There's a line to religious freedom. You can do whatever you want, up to the point where it affects other people's lives. You can't sacrifice a kid on an altar. You can, however, celebrate Easter. Go nuts. You can't force other people to observe, recognize, or celebrate Easter. Anyway, it continues. She says it's a years-long assault on the Christian faith. It's not. Apparently, Trump sent out... I guess this is a post from Carolyn Leavitt. I'm not sure where this was. Truth Central, whatever Trump's social media thing is. We call on Joe Biden's failing campaign and White House to issue an apology to the millions of Catholics and Christians. He is Catholic. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy that's always bagging on people. I'll have Greg Locke do it for me.
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas.
Thank you for your input, Greg. I appreciate that. Apt timing. We call on the White House to issue an apology to the millions of Catholics and Christians across America who believe tomorrow is for one celebration only. Who said that? No one said anything about that. Didn't they have an Easter egg hunt at the White House or something? The resurrection of Jesus Christ.
I've lived for the Lord my whole life, and I was dumb as a box of rocks and didn't know it.
Thank you, Shane Vaughn. I appreciate your input, too. Statement from Trump campaign on Joe Biden's blasphemous declaration of Trans Visibility Day on Easter Sunday. Blasphemous. So? Who cares if it's blasphemous? That's freedom, baby. That's what it's all about. We need to reclaim that word. Quote, it is appalling and insulting that Joe Biden's White House prohibited children from submitting religious egg designs for their Easter art event. And there's another thing that went absolutely viral on Facebook. People losing their mind over this, right? Not allowed to submit religious art designs for the Easter event or whatever. Is it true? Of course it's not true. My God, these people live in an alternate reality. But they always base it on a grain of truth. So let me tell you what that little grain of truth was. Here's the claim. It's insulting that Biden's White House prohibited children from submitting religious egg designs for their Easter art event, right? Here's what really happened. There was a military-themed art event for Easter eggs. So you needed to do like something related to the military. Draw a military man saluting or a gun or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why children would be drawing guns, but whatever. Here we are in America 2024. It was military themed. It was not religious themed. So the rules of the contest were make a military themed art thing for an egg or whatever. And Trump's people interpreted that, and like countless people on Facebook interpreted that as no religious designs. It's so, again, I'm not the guy bagging on people.
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas.
It is so stupid. I don't know what to do with it anymore. Seriously. Anyway, Speaker Mike Johnson, he continues. Hemant Mehta is speaking now. Speaker Mike Johnson, by the way, he's a complete nutcase. He's far-right, Christian nationalist, the whole nine. So Hemant Mehta says, Speaker Mike Johnson, one of the most powerful Christians in the country, ran with the lie, proclaiming banning sacred truth and tradition, while at the same time proclaiming Easter Sunday as Transgender Day, is outrageous and abhorrent. Again, not what happened. But okay, doesn't matter if they lie. They don't care. Just say whatever. Who cares? Johnson also posted an image claiming the White House banned religious Easter eggs, as if Biden implemented that rule, even though that rule has been in effect for nearly 5 decades. The American Egg Board, which sponsors the event, says it has always been religiously neutral despite the Easter connection, and it's merely a way to promote their product. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, interesting. That was true when Trump was in the White House, too. Fox updated its own misleading article to point that out, but only after initially spreading the lie. It did not update its headline. Here's the Fox article about religious-themed designs banned from White House Easter egg art contest. It's so stupid, dude.
I've lived for the Lord my whole life, and I was dumb as a box of rocks and didn't know it.
It is so stupid. Which is all to say the most powerful conservative Christian in America would rather spread lies that serve a political purpose than tell a truth that undercuts Republican talking points. Either he and his staffers don't know how to do basic research or don't care. It says a lot about his supposed faith-based values. Here's Mike Johnson's twit, I guess you'd call it. The twit, That's what I used to call it anyway, the twit. Now it's definitely the twit. So here's his twit. The Biden White House has betrayed the central tenet of Easter, which is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Banning sacred truth and tradition while at the same time proclaiming Easter Sunday as Transgender Day is outrageous and abhorrent. The American people are taking note.
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas. Facebook just makes people think I'm smart.
I don't even know what to do with this anymore. Unfortunately, Mike Johnson and whoever else, Trump and his press secretary, they're all talking about this right now. And who else is talking about it? None other than Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner is a trans person who is a right-leaning conservative. The parent of Kim Kardashian, I believe. I think it's the parent of Kim Kardashian. That's who Caitlyn Jenner is. It's a Huffington Post article. I don't usually read Huffington Post because I feel sometimes it's a little bit biased, but that's okay. We'll take a look here. Caitlyn Jenner disgusted over Trans Day visibility being on Easter. Transgender Day, dude, okay. And here's another reason why I don't read Huffington Post, because they cram ads down my throat. Come on, guys, please. Like, a couple, fine. Yes, I'm all for it. Couple of ads, great. Don't give me 60 billion of them. And don't play sound against my will when I'm not... Look, it says loading right now on this video. I don't know what this video is, but in a second, it's going to start playing sound against my will. I have no idea what it's going to start saying. That is frustrating as it gets, dude. And I have two computers, the one I use to stream and the one that I'm the screen share. And like, this seriously happens from time to time where sound just starts playing. I don't know which computer it's coming from. I don't even know like which browser it's coming from, let alone browser tab. I have no idea. Drives me nuts. Don't do that, guys, please. If you're a programmer out there. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting off on a tangent here. We're talking about Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner, a trans woman, wrote on social media Saturday that she is disgusted Transgender Day of Visibility is on Easter this year. Disgusted. The annual event has been held on March 31st since its inception in 2009. Easter is a different date each year, however. Quote, I'm absolutely disgusted that Joe Biden has declared the most holy of holy days, a self-proclaimed devout Catholic, as Transgender Day of Visibility, Jenner wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter. Yeah, I'm just going to call it the Twit. I always have. The only thing you should be declaring on this day is, he is risen. For the record, the H in he is correctly capitalized, but the E should not be capitalized in that sentence. I'm just, I want to point it out for posterity. Caitlyn Jenner complaining about Trans Visibility Day, overwriting Easter. Really? Come on, guys. Okay, so back to Hemant Mehta's article about Trans Visibility Day. Where we left off on this article, Donald Trump's press secretary, I think it said? Yes, press secretary, showed righteous indignation and demanded an apology on the nation's behalf for Joe Biden overwriting Easter with Trans Visibility Day. I'm not the guy that's going to bag on people, but
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas. Facebook just makes people think I'm smart.
I don't know what else to do with this. Anyway, let's keep reading. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, he complained about it. Currently Speaker of the House. That might change soon. If Biden picked the date himself, which he did not, the idea that no one's allowed to celebrate anything else on Easter except Easter is absurd. Christians do not own the calendar, and they don't own all of December either while we're at it. Yeah, that's a fair point. They pretend to own all of December. Actually, it's blatantly clear that they don't own, Christians don't own December in New York City. New York City is the highest concentration of Jews outside of Israel, and Manhattan has a very high Jewish population. My neighborhood is, I think, 52% Jewish. So the high schools in the area, or middle schools, elementary, whatever, they will have Jewish days and Christian days off. Yom Kippur, or Yom Kippur, as they call it, that is given to Jewish people. That day is free. You don't go to school that day for Yom Kippur. Or Rosh Hashanah. That's also another day where people don't go. And I think that they're connected. One of them, it's Yom Kippur is the start of the season and Rosh Hashanah is the end, I think. I don't remember. And since we have more days spent out of school, we have to subtract from somewhere else, right? They have to go for a certain amount of time. So kids go to school all the way up to December 23rd in New York City. Maybe they get the 24th off. I think they do. And then it goes from the 24th to the 2nd. It's practically no Christmas vacation at all because, compared to what it was in West Virginia, when I lived there, it was practically all of December that kids got off. In September, this is Koopmaster, he's Jewish. In September, we have 4 holidays: Rosh Hashanah, New Year, Yom Kippur, and Atonement Day. Okay. Well, like I said, I live in a very heavily Jewish neighborhood, 52% Jewish. There is no more heavily concentrated place for Jews outside of Israel. So lots and lots and lots of Jews here. Obviously, they're going to celebrate Jewish holidays. I think Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are the only ones that they get at the high schools here. And of course, New Year's, Christmas. But as far as Jewish holidays exclusively, I believe those are the only 2. There are non-Christians who will enjoy their Sundays without thinking about Easter. Yeah, I didn't even realize it was Easter. And there are Christians who will honor trans people on Sunday because they can do 2 things at once, and they're not assholes. Well said, Hemant Mehta. I appreciate that. I'm glad that I'm not the one that has to say it.
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas.
All those people spreading the lie are either willfully spreading false propaganda or too dumb to check the facts for themselves. Yep, agreed. Absolutely. Their followers are eating it up because they too revel in their own ignorance. They don't believe Biden is a real Christian anyway. Recall that a recent Pew Research Center survey found that 69% of Republicans don't really believe Biden is religious. Wow. Really? That's crazy. Here's the link to the study. Wow. 8 in 10 Americans say religion is losing influence in public life. 69% say Biden is not religious. That's very crazy. Really interesting. Anyway, I believe personally that Obama might have been our first atheist president, but if he wasn't, Trump was definitely our first atheist president. I don't like it. I don't want to claim the guy or anything. I just don't think that he believes in, anything in the Bible at all. I don't think he believes in this stuff to any degree whatsoever. Anyway, Hemant Mehta continues here. None of the critics, by the way, bothered to explain how Easter would be ruined by this proclamation. If your Easter Sunday was spoiled because of what Biden said, maybe your faith isn't as strong as you think it is. And if Biden actually wanted to persecute Christians, then why the hell would he do it via a proclamation honoring trans people? None of this makes sense, even on the bigots' terms. I mean, is there really any surprise here that these people are just losing their minds over this, honestly? This is what I've come to expect from the far right, from far right extremists at this point. Biden didn't back down in the face of the fake controversy, to his credit. That's written by Hemant Mehta. Here's a quote. As a Christian who celebrates Easter with family, President Biden stands for bringing people together and upholding the dignity and freedoms of every American. Sadly, it's unsurprising politicians are seeking to divide and weaken our country with cruel, hateful, and dishonest rhetoric. Biden will never abuse his faith for political purposes or for profit. So Biden said, I'm celebrating Easter right now. And I recognize that trans people are terribly mistreated in the country and they need some visibility. Respectable, right? Respectable as hell. Hemant Mehta continues, give his administration credit for that. It would have been perfectly easy to issue any proclamation at all, especially given how much conservative zealots flip out when trans people are brought up in any context. This kind of right-wing response was predictable, but he did it anyway, and he did so forcefully. It may be symbolic, but symbols still carry a lot of weight. I agree. It was valuable and appreciated that Joe Biden didn't back down from this, in my opinion. Now, I'm not trans. I believe that everybody has a right to have an opinion on every subject. So it's not like I don't think I'm qualified to talk about it because I'm not trans. But I do think that trans people will have they might have a unique perspective that could be interesting to listen to. So if you're trans, tell me what you think about Biden not backing down in the comments of this video. If any of these Christian, this is Hemant Mehta again. If any of these Christian liars actually gave a shit about the sanctity of their faith, they would condemn Trump, who made headlines last week for selling an expensive Christian nationalist Bible in order to take another cut of cash from the most gullible MAGA cultists in the country. Oh yeah, Trump is selling Bibles. Forgot about that one. Jesus, dude. It's shameless at this point. It is shameless. These people have no shame. Again, I believe that Trump was one of the first atheist presidents, at least in our modern era. In the past 50 years, I think he's the first atheist president, if Obama wasn't atheist. These people need help, for real. So right now, Facebook is just losing their minds over Easter being erased by trans people, I guess. By Easter being erased by trans people, and by the fact that Easter Egg Sunday banned their religious symbolism banned from Easter or whatever. Like, guys, are you really going to die on this hill and get outraged over this stupid shit, honestly? Get help, for real. Anyway, tell me what you think. Anybody and everybody, I want to know your thoughts. Put it in the comments. Feed the almighty algorithm with a comment. And particularly, in all seriousness, trans people, please. Tell me what you think about what Biden did there, about not backing down and all that stuff. I want to hear about it. Next up, Elijah Schaffer is wild. He used to be part of a big network of conservative voices. Now I think he's flying solo. He popped off with some stuff you wouldn't even believe. Let's talk about it. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon and check out my website and email list for early access to uncensored, ad-free, complete videos. All links are in the description.
That's why our founding fathers did not set up our republic to be a pure democracy. They don't want stupid morons who haven't done shit in their life to be voting. All this movement that the left uses, like on Instagram and Facebook, and go out and vote. No, don't vote, you fucking idiot. Don't vote. You are stupid. You are a degenerate piece of scum. Your existence is menial.
This guy seems to really hate the left. That's bizarre, right? He got famous for this clip. This went viral because it's just grotesque and evil and wrong. Like, holy Christ on a cracker, bro. Well, believe it or not, it gets worse. I would venture to say that it gets worse. Yeah, I say it's worse. This is Elijah Schaffer, by the by. If you don't know him, he's a famous right-wing commentator. And he was on The Blaze for a while. So Glenn Beck used to be on Fox News as one of the anchors or whatever. And he was like primetime slot. He was like Tucker Carlson or Bill O'Reilly or whatever. Like, he's really, really high up there, Glenn Beck was. But they fired him, as they did with Bill O'Reilly and they did with Tucker. And they'll probably eventually do with Jesse Waters. Anyway, when Glenn Beck was fired, he started he started his own thing. It's called The Blaze. And he gets hosts on to talk about various issues. Now, Elijah Schaffer was on The Blaze for a while. No longer. He was fired from The Blaze. No idea why exactly. He said, this right here, this is his common thing. Like what we just listened to, that's what he did all the time on The Blaze. So it wasn't that. It wasn't the swearing. It wasn't the... Racism isn't even the right term to describe what this guy is. It's not the white nationalism, borderline Nazi ideas, just very, very close, if not full-blown Nazi ideas. It's not that was the problem. I suspect the reason that he was fired, I don't know for a fact, but I think Herschel Walker ran for Senate back in 2020... or 2022, I think, in Georgia. He ran against Raphael Warnock and he lost. His son is a conservative, and he's also really big on TikTok. Herschel Walker's son, Chris Walker, I think? It's Christian Walker, yeah. He's a far-right nutcase in his own right. He says some real wild stuff. Christian Walker does? Oh, my God. Christian Walker, by the way, he's gay. Christian Walker is gay. Pretty open about it, but... he's also very anti-gay because he's a far-right nutcase, and he says things like this.
Rainbow cult? You want to sleep with whoever? Then you do it on your own time and leave everybody else alone.
The rainbow cult. He's calling LGBT people the rainbow cult and saying if you want to sleep with others, do it on your own time.
And then people love to go in my face. Oh, how do you not identify with BLM and the rainbow cult? Because you're this, that. Because that's not my identity. My identity is my good characters, my skill set. I would never
my good character, he says. Well, you're kind of stretching the word good there a little bit, aren't you? Matter of fact, it seems like the exact opposite of reality, but that's neither here nor there. The point is that Christian Walker, Herschel Walker's son, is a public influencer on TikTok. Pretty big. Very, very famous. And is invited to a lot of events like CPAC and, conservative events like that. And Christian Walker claimed that Elijah Schaffer, right here on the right, the dude that was screaming about people
who haven't done shit in their life to be voting. All this movement that the left uses, like on Instagram and Facebook, and go out and vote. No, don't vote, you fucking idiot. Don't vote. You are stupid. You are a degenerate piece of scum.
Wow. Jesus Christ on a cracker, bro. Anyway, Christian Walker claimed that this guy, Elijah Schaffer, hooked up with one of his gay male friends at this conference. And suddenly, and seemingly out of nowhere, Elijah Schaefer is fired from the Blaze. No explanation why, no nothing. Just goodbye. Draw your own conclusions. I don't know. Maybe they were unconnected. You know what? Maybe Glenn Beck just didn't like Elijah Schaefer. Maybe there was some internal drama. And his contract is coming up to, like, be renewed. And he was like, yeah, I don't want to. I don't like the guy. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe he slept with a dude at a conservative conference, one of Christian Walker's close friends, and got caught. For the record, Christian Walker was very graphic in describing what he did with his friend. He said he slept with him multiple times that night and all kinds of stuff. It was crazy. Anyway, now you know who Christian Walker is and you know who Elijah Schaefer is a little bit. Let me lay down some stuff that he said recently. This is from late March 2024 is when these videos, the set of 2 videos came out.
When people tell me, like, you share racist stuff, how is that in line with Jesus? You go, well, Jesus is the Son of God.
Okay, so right out the gate, what this guy just said, he's going to justify being racist. He says, you share racist stuff. How do you justify that in being Christian? And he right out the gate, he's going to explain to us how you should be racist if you're a Christian. Okay, go on. I'm listening. You have my attention.
When people tell me, like, you share racist stuff, how is that in line with Jesus? You go, well, Jesus is the Son of God, but he also is God. Trinitarian.
Okay, I don't know what that has to do with racism, and the Trinity didn't come along until way, way later. That was like a Catholic thing. Jesus didn't believe that he was God. Jesus did not believe that he and the Holy Spirit and God were one or any of that other junk. Jesus didn't believe in the Trinity, nor did he believe in hell. So take that for what you will. This is false doctrine that he's talking about. But okay, go on. You're telling us why Jesus would want you to be racist, okay?
Trinitarianly speaking. So there were moments where God literally punished the king, Saul being one of them, for literally refusing to wipe out entire nations. And to this day, because of the refusal to...
What? Okay, King Saul came before King David in the biblical narrative and was after David. He didn't like David as a young boy. David, killed Goliath, 9-foot tall guy, had a little sling and a rock and all that and killed him. You know the story. But Saul was in charge at that point. He was king. And the courtiers eventually came along and killed Saul. And David had fled to the south, to Judea, what was Judah at the time. It was like an offshoot of Israel, its own province. Well, David had built up a band of merry men, if you will, kind of like Robin Hood or whatever. And if the biblical narrative is to be believed, it kind of seems to me that it's like hinting that maybe David arranged for Saul to be killed as the king. Then David comes in with his band of merry men and takes the crown and has the courtiers executed who had any part in the plot to kill King Saul. Wow, that is some ice cold right there. Anyway, Saul, David, Solomon, King David's son, they were all pretty brutal. Yes, they were also married to like 700 different wives, concubines, and the whole nine. And apparently in God's good graces. So go on. What about Saul killing people?
Saul being one of them, for literally refusing to wipe out entire nations. And to this day, because of the refusal to wipe out Amalek, they still have problems.
The refusal to wipe out Amalek. Because of the refusal to wipe out Amalek, they still have problems. We're going to talk about who Amalek is in a second. Keep listening.
With the Amalekites down the road today.
Amalekites. He's saying that Amalekites exist today because we didn't kill Amalek. Oh my God, dude.
With the Amalekites down the road today, we still have Arab issues because of the Hittites, some of the other groups that even you go back even further, that they refused, that they had bashes within their offspring. So God literally was trying to...
Okay, so this is supposed to be an explanation of why it's okay to be racist in Jesus' eyes, and he's just telling us that we should have killed Arabs and killed genocided all of the distinct ethnic groups in the area around Israel that were not Jewish. Holy Christ on a cracker, bro. That's nuts. By the way, Amalekites and Amalek, I think Amalek was the son of Esau. If you don't know the biblical narrative, 15-second primer. Before King Saul came along, before King David or Solomon or any of that junk, you had Jacob and you had his brother Esau. Jacob was not set to inherit anything because he was the youngest son. And Esau was the older son. He was the more responsible son. He was more favored by the father, Abraham. I think that's who it was. I'm sorry if I'm getting this story wrong. I'm trying. Bottom line is Jacob basically, the father couldn't see very well. He's losing his vision in his last days. And Jacob put on a disguise to make himself look like Esau so that he could receive receive Esau's blessing and get all of his stuff, all his inheritance and everything, get it all from the father. And it worked. He got it all. And Esau kind of got shafted on that one. Anyway, here's where the Amalekites come in. The Amalekites were Esau's children, basically. That's my understanding. Okay. Yes, Abraham, and then Isaac, and then Esau/Jacob. And Jacob eventually became Israel. Yeah, so that's the, I'm getting the information from Kootmaster, my resident Talmud expert or whatever. Abraham was the patriarch, and he had Isaac and Ishmael, those two children. According to Jews and Christians, Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac on an altar, but God gave him a goat instead. It was a test. Abraham wasn't really supposed to kill him. Decided not to, so that's lucky. According to Muslims, though, it was Ishmael. Ishmael was sacrificed, or was going to be sacrificed by Abraham instead. And their whole lineage, according to Muslims, came from Ishmael, which is Isaac's brother. I mean, this information is so old, and there's really no evidence for any of it. There's some very fleeting evidence, very light evidence that David was a real person, maybe. But that's pretty much it. That's all we can say about the guy, that he was real and that he was like the leader of a house. Anyway, so we're just going off biblical narrative and Muslim narrative right now. Just the stories, the lore. So Abraham has Ishmael and Isaac, and that's eventually the Muslim and Jewish split. And then Isaac has Esau and Jacob. Jacob steals the blessing from Esau, and he also comes across an angel and wrestles the angel for a blessing for 3 days or something. I don't remember what the story is, but he wrestles an angel, and the angel finally gives Jacob a blessing, and the blessing is he will be known as Israel or something. His name will become Israel, and he became the father of the Israelites. The Old Testament does not really paint Jacob in a good light. It's kind of weird that they'd paint their patriarch Jacob or Israel in such a weird negative light, right? He screwed Esau out of his inheritance, and then he wrestled an angel for a blessing until he got one. Wow, okay. Anyway, he was father to the tribes of Israel. By the way, it turns out there are more than 12. You hear about the 12 tribes of Israel. There are a ton of different tribes mentioned in the Bible alone, and extra biblical sources gives evidence that there were more than 12. From my understanding, scholarly perspective is that they were not related to each other. They were just tribes of people that lived in the area who followed the same religion. Where were we going with this? I'm trying to remember. Right, Amalek and the Amalekites, they were the offspring of Esau. Now, what did Esau do? Absolutely nothing. Dude was innocent, okay? He was actually, according to the Bible, a good guy. But, Jacob is the patriarch. He takes everything over. He stole the blessing from the angel and from his dad. So go f*** yourself, Esau. That's this guy, Elijah Schaefer's justification for hating Esau and or the Amalekites. And I get, like, the way that he's framing it up, it sounds like he's saying the Amalekites are black people or they're Arabs. I can't tell what his theological belief is just based off of this one video here.
Moments where God literally punished the king, Saul being one of them, for literally refusing to wipe out entire nations. And to this day, because of the refusal to wipe out Amalek, they still...
to wipe out Esau's family.
Amalek, they still have problems.
To this day, they still have problems. I guess the Amalekites are supposed to be Arabs. Is that right? But Arabs claim to be from the tribe of Ishmael. Anyway, the whole thing is made up. It's just like all these people lived in this area and they all they all like had a similar religion, similar religious beliefs. Early Jews were not monotheistic. That didn't come until later. They believed in the Canaanite gods just like, everyone else in the area did. The Canaanite gods of like Baal and Molech, I think, and Asherah and, so on and so forth. Those that I listed are mentioned in the Bible, by the way, by name. I go through a lot of this in my book if you want to learn more about it. owenmorgan.com/book. You can find it there. Anyway, so I guess that this guy is giving us justification to kill the Amalekites, and I think that he believes that the Amalekites are modern-day Arabs. Is that right?
And to this day, because of the refusal to wipe out Amalek, they still have problems with the Amalekites down the road today. We still have Arab issues because of the Hittites, some of the other groups that even you go back even further.
Arab issues, he says. Interesting way to frame it. Hittites, again, just like another ethnic group that lived in the area. And this guy is complaining that they were not genocided? Like what?
Of the Hittites, some of the other groups that even you go back even further, that they refused, that they had bashes within their offspring. So God literally was trying to prevent future problems by bringing judgment that seemed cruel.
Wow. So here's his defense. The whole point of this video was, people ask me why I'm racist, why I'm openly racist. Well, Jesus wants me to be. Now let me tell you why. That was the framing of the video, right? And his explanation seemed to be because God ordered the genocide of people in the Old Testament at various points, and the people to whom the order was given, like Saul or whoever, were too weak to carry out these orders of genocide. And if they had just done it at the time, then we wouldn't have Arabs today. We wouldn't have black people today, and the world would be fantastic. That seems to be what the guy's saying, right? So I guess that Elijah Schaffer seems to believe that there's like a moral responsibility to kill Arabs. Am I reading this correctly? I mean, this may seem like a little bit of a stretch to you if you don't know this guy, but let me just play one clip for you. If you've never heard of him, let me just listen to this one. If you don't yet quite believe that that's what he meant, that he's not like a white nationalist, just listen to this.
This is the most racist thing I'll say all podcast.
Oh my God.
People think that Australia is great because it's an all-white country. And it's just, that's the only reason why it's good. And you can say that that's white supremacist. No, it's a homogenous group of people with less population than there is in California and a landmass bigger than the United States. They get along, they don't commit crime, they're clean, and they have a common group.
So he's saying that Australia runs really well because they're all white and they don't have any like indigenous people there. Well, that's simply wrong. There's a group of people there that's lived there for 50,000 years. I mean, humans have been evolved as modern day humans for, 100,000 to 200,000 years, somewhere in that vicinity. We could go back 150,000 years, pluck somebody out of history and put them in today's schools. They'd probably perform basically exactly the same as anybody else does today. Anyway, 50,000 years ago, there were groups of people who made it to Australia and lived there, and they have a whole culture and life and everything. I don't remember the name, and I'm not, this might be considered the wrong term for the group. I'm not sure. If it is, I'll have it removed. But in Australia, I believe they're called Aboriginals. Please tell me if that's correct in the chat. In New Zealand, for example, it's the Maori. Maori are the the native people in the area. And there's a lot of conflict between, indigenous groups and white colonizing groups, basically, in both New Zealand and Australia. The point here is that Australia is not homogenous and all white the way he's framed. Like, what? And even if it was, so...
A common group. Multiculturalism is gay. It sucks. It's stupid. It doesn't work. It never has worked. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. But
multiculturalism doesn't work. So only white people should exist, apparently, in certain areas. We should send all black people somewhere else. We should live in a different country. Send them to Canada. Send them to Mexico, to Africa, whatever. Get them out of the country. Because the United States is for white people who are Christians. Okay.
they have a country, it's homogenous. Everyone thinks because it's a monoculture that it's like this really balanced society that's like it's just not violent, it's not trash, and everyone's wealthy. It's actually true, but their politics are.
The point is that the guy is about as racist as it gets. Like, I don't know how you can watch any of what you've just listened to and not view this guy as like the most racist person. God, how do I frame it? I guess I'd say the largest racist person around, like the most famous racist person around outside of like KKK members. The most famous political commentator who is the most racist simultaneously. Hard to beat David Duke, but I think this guy did it. I don't know. Maybe they're on the same level. It is a common term to those I have talked to in Australia. They do not seem to say it as derogatory. Okay, yeah, I just thought it was a term. It's mentioned in a movie called Quincy Down, Australia, them being genocided. Yeah, and apparently Aboriginals is not a word. I guess Aborigine. Aborigine is the correct name, and it's not offensive. It's just like the name of a group, Aborigine, apparently. Anyway, just listen to this clip. This is a continuation of like the other one that we were watching a minute ago. Just, no more lead up. Just listen.
They want people to think that Judaism is the Old Testament. There was the...
By the way, who's they? He said they like multiple times already, and we're only like 3 seconds in. You count how many versions of the word they we have in this video.
They want people to think that Judaism is the Old Testament. There was the 400 years of silence, right, at the end of the minor prophets. And then they just somehow don't care about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And the only difference between Christianity and Judaism is our belief in Jesus. Not realizing that Talmudic Judaism is closer to witchcraft, in my opinion, New Age mysticism, especially Kabbalah and different, other things that these people believe.
That these people, that counts as a version of they, right? Kind of. So that's 4 so far. Started talking about Judaism and stuff. Let me just lay this out for you, okay? I am deeply in favor of Jewish people. I stand with Jews all the way. I've got so many Jewish neighbors here. It's ridiculous in New York City. Half the people that I know or meet on the street are Jewish, and I stand with them. And I'm also disgusted and horrified by what Israel, the country of Israel, is doing to Palestinians who didn't deserve it, Palestinian civilians who were innocent. I'm horrified and disgusted by the fact that Israel is using the Jewish name to commit genocide against a group of people right now, in my opinion. And I know a lot of Jews who are also disgusted by that. The Israeli government has put a lot of time and effort and propaganda into convincing people around them that Israeli and Jewish are synonymous. That's not true. Okay? The Israeli government is its own government. Yes, a lot of them are Jewish, and a lot of them are also extreme. But you are not bound to support Israel if you're Jewish. Anyway, it's weird because I support Jews to the death. I would fight for Jews. In fact, I'd fight for Arabs. I'd fight for anybody who is having a problem, who is being attacked or mistreated in any way. I don't stand for that at all, ever, under any circumstances. This guy seems to hate Jews. It's like it wrapped around. Like, a lot of people don't like Jews or don't like Israel because of what's happening in Palestine right now. And then you've got closer to the center, or you've got like the right, who are in favor of Israel controlling the area because it's part of the prophecy that it must exist before the end can come. It can't come otherwise. It's part of the prophecy, whatever. Anyway, if you go far enough right, you end up where Elijah Schaffer is right now, which is Jews control everything. They control the media, Hollywood, and they control the economy and the banks and blah, 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 blah. I guess that's where this guy ended up. Now, regarding what his comments about Kabbalah, I think that's how it's pronounced. Some people know it as Kabbalah.
Not realizing that Talmudic Judaism is closer to witchcraft, in my opinion, New Age mysticism, especially Kabbalah. And
okay, Kabbalah is from us. I could be wrong. Any Jews in the comments, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, and I'll look out for it, and I'll pin the comment if I can find it. I believe that Kabbalah, as a lot of people know it, Kabbalah, is from one book called Zohar, I think. And it was written, well, honestly, to my knowledge, I don't think Kabbalah, I'm just going to use that pronunciation because it's super common. I don't think Kabbalah was very popular or common. I don't think that it was written down anywhere for a very, very long time. Eventually, when it was just like a tradition. It was like, kind of a Jewish, it was like a group of Jewish people who practiced in a certain specific way. And it's like a method of meditation. It's just like you close your eyes, and it's a certain way of meditating on information or on God or on whatever. That's it. But since, the Kabbalists have largely died out, they started writing down some of the stuff about how to practice Kabbalah, meditation. Okay, simply meditation techniques. That's it. But they made really wild claims in the Book of Zohar, in the Jewish holy scriptures. Like if you could harness the power of Kabbalah, then you could move things with your mind and all kinds of other crazy things. And the last Kabbalistic master died out. Like the last person to master Kabbalah died like, I don't know, thousands of years ago or something, long before the book was written. It's just like old religious claims, basically. But it is a method of meditation, and it is not practiced by every Jewish person, but it is commonly found in, I think, the Jewish holy book. The Talmud, I believe is what it's called. I could be wrong here, so again, somebody's going to fact check me on this, and if it's correct, it stays in the video. If it's wrong, it'll be taken out. So if you're listening to this, it's correct. All right. Back in Jesus' day, there were Pharisees. I'm sure you guys probably remember hearing about scribes and Pharisees. Scribes are basically people who knew how to copy things or write things down. They're like librarians, or they kept the law. They interpreted the law. Judges sometimes. Well, Pharisees are modern-day Jews. That's what Pharisees are. They believed that when Moses came down from the mountain, not only did he come down with the commandments, but there were like an oral set of commandments that he instructed them to follow, that God gave to Moses. And they never wrote them down because, Moses didn't, so why would they? Like, maybe God didn't want them written down for some reason. It was basically just like a cultural thing, like how to do this or that or whatever. By the way, Pharisee is also known as Rabbinic Judaism. Well, anyway, after the destruction of the Second Temple, I think in the year 70 CE, about 35, 40 years after Jesus died. Yeah, 70. The Rabbinic Jews, the ones who believed that there was this oral tradition that was being passed down, they decided, okay, we got to write this down, because we don't know if, we're going to be killed. We don't know if it'll be preserved or what. So they wrote it down. Wrote down all of the cultural expectations and beliefs and ideals and everything. It was all written down. I think, 400 years later or something? That was the Jerusalem Talmud. And then there's a Babylonian Talmud, maybe? I don't remember exactly. There's another Talmud that was written somewhere around 400 years later that's a lot clearer, and has extra information and things like that, and was written by somebody who was much more skilled at, like, writing things down and translating and stuff like that. So the newer one from like 400 years later, that one is commonly used because it seems to be superior. Zohar is included in the holy books as like a collection, and Zohar is what talks about Kabbalah. Yeah, Kabbalah is like, there's nothing like mystical or special or whatever about Kabbalah. It's just a method of meditation, and wild claims were made about it in the book of Zohar, where it, describes how to do the meditations. Like, you'd be able to control time and energy and space and matter and blah, 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 if you could become a Kabbalah master, basically. Like I said, once you get to a certain point in right-wing beliefs, it's like you wrap around and you suddenly hate Jews. Like, yeah, okay, sure, maybe Israel should exist before Jesus can come back, but Jews control everything. This one is Stu Peters talking to a Nazi. This is from early March 2024.
When the whole country is falling apart, you look at, well, who's leading it, and you have all these unelected Jews, and you're like, oh my God, it's all the Jews, and then I go...
Okay, I guess he's saying that he's talking about the United States. We have unelected Jews running the country in the U.S. Okay, go on.
Oh my God, it's all the Jews. And then I go on Alex Jones and I'm like, look, this is a big problem, the Jews. And then I start digging into it more. And like every conversation that I have, I mean, it could be about food that's bad for you. It could be about what's being sprayed in the skies. It could be about, the dog food that you feed. And everything is Jews. It's all like everything that's going wrong in every...
Like, bro, have you considered the possibility that maybe, God, this segment is called The Most Racist Person on the Internet or something like that. And then I play a clip from Stu Peters in the middle of it. Elijah Schaffer, boy, does he compete with Stu Peters for the position of most racist person on the internet. Anyway, if you are seeing like a boogeyman around every corner, if like literally everything that bad that happens in your life, included like you stub your toe and you can't, like, you start blaming like this ethnic group or something, maybe reevaluate your entire life from start to finish, okay? Something went wrong somewhere along the way. Okay, continue listening to this guy explain why Jews are responsible for him stubbing his toe in the middle of the night. He's explaining it to a Nazi, by the way. Vincent James is a Nazi.
And everything is Jews. It's all like everything that's going wrong in every sector of life. It's like the person that's leading it happens to claim to be Jewish. And so I like cognitively made the decision. I'm going to try to pull back and not have this tunnel vision. And
there you go.
So it's like, well, these Catholics. Oh, good.
That's the problem. You're putting people into a box. It's not like a conspiracy like these Catholics are getting together to blah, 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 whatever. It's not like these Jews are getting together to do this thing or that thing. Why are you putting people into categories like this, bro? This is not helpful. So he finds something that Catholics are to blame for, okay?
Well, these Catholics. Oh, good. The Catholics are finally, behind something. These fake Catholics are ruining our country.
Oh, they're fake Catholics. If they're doing something bad, then they're fakes. Okay, go on.
All of this immigration stuff, and guess who's funding the fake Catholics? The Jews.
Get help, Stu, okay? This is Stu Peters and Vincent James. Get help, guys, for real. When you start seeing boogeymen around every corner the way that these people seem to, there's something very, very wrong. So anyway, Elijah Schaffer is one of those people, I guess, who, like Stu Peters, wrapped around and is now like anti-Jewish and is like completely out of his mind and claiming that like it's witchcraft and stuff. Okay. And by the way, who is this woman that he's talking to? Also, if you notice in the corner, it says censored.tv, promo code offensive. Look, before we continue, I just want to address this. Am I offended by this? Is this offensive content? There is literally nothing that offends me, okay? I've heard some vile from people, seriously. I mean, we're listening to some pretty vile stuff right now, right? I'm not offended by this. Truthfully, you can say it if you want. You're just going to have to realize that people view you as a scumbag. If you're okay with being viewed as a scumbag, then okay. We're all good to go here. He acts like people need to stop being offended and just like accept what he says. No, I heard what you had to say. I'm not offended. You're a scumbag. See how simple that is?
Talmudic Judaism is closer to witchcraft in my opinion.
He says Talmudic Judaism is closer to witchcraft. Modern Judaism, the Pharisees.
Is closer to witchcraft, in my opinion. New Age mysticism, especially Kabbalah and different, other things that these people believe, is more close to that than it genuinely is to the actual scripture. That's my personal belief. Some would say that's destructive, but I don't see the.
I would say it's psychotic. I don't know about destructive or how it's destructive or whatever. I haven't even thought about that. Maybe it is destructive. But holy Christ, bro, this is psychotic. That's my word that I want to use here. Not offensive, not destructive, psychotic. Get help. And this woman just completely stone-faced, like staring him down, agreeing seemingly with what he's saying.
Destructive, but I don't see these as my
like nodding her head along with what he's saying.
But I don't see these as my brothers and sisters who are just missing Christ. I see them as enemies of the cross of Christ, and they prove it time and time again that maybe they work with Christians, but they take advantage of them and keep them directly weak. And again, this is our Holy Week, by the way. This is Palm Sunday to Easter. The right-wing media has Christians defending or fighting anti-Semitism and trying to police who can say Christ is king.
Wow, dude. Holy Christ on a cracker. Like, anti-Semitism is actually a really, really big problem in society. Like, it's bad. People don't even realize. I don't even fully realize because I'm not Jewish, but I see it in droves. Like, it's all over the place. But aside from the fact that anti-Semitism is all over the place,
to police who can say Christ is king.
That bit right there about Christ is king, that is actually an anti-Semitic dog whistle. In all seriousness, I'm not even joking. I don't know if it was started by Nick Fuentes or if he just picked it up or what, but Fuentes is a Nazi, full-blown Nazi, hates Jews, thought Hitler didn't go far enough, wishes Hitler was alive today so that he could finish the job or whatever. I mean, really, Nazi. I'm not just, like, saying that because I'm on the left or whatever. Like, no, he's a Nazi. Nick Fuentes uses the term Christ is king in a lot of his speeches, and it's kind of a dog whistle to Jews killed Jesus, you screwed up, and it's your fault, and he couldn't finish what he came here to do, now he has to come again, and he's the king, and you're an idiot, and I hope you die. Basically, that's the idea behind the saying. I mean, people can say Jesus is Lord, and nobody cares. Sure, okay, yeah, you believe that Jesus is Lord. Fine. All right. Well, Jews disagree with you, but people can disagree with each other in a civilized society, right? That's not the same as Christ is king. Jesus is Lord and Christ is king fundamentally have the same meaning, but Christ is king isn't actually an anti-Semitic dog whistle. I'll show you what I mean in a second.
Christ is king. This is a universally terrible thing to be doing and shows a mask-off moment to me that, like, these people do not care about your Holy Week. They should shut the hell up for, like, a week. Let us practice our faith and step away, and don't tell me what to do or to say.
Is somebody telling him what to do or say? Who the hell is telling him what to do or say? I'm just lost. Anyway, boy, is this guy mad, and I'm grasping at straws, trying to understand like what the hell he's mad over. God, let me just show you a couple of really, really top tier clips. I don't know how else to say top tier stuff from Elijah Schaffer. This is when he was still on the Blaze. You can see the Blaze's little logo in the bottom right corner here. Oh, before talking about this, let me mention I'm actually Native American. A lot of people don't know that about me because I don't talk about it very much. I'm white passing, so it doesn't really affect my life very much, but according to my birth certificate, I am 1/2 Native American. It's much less than that, actually. That was a mistake on the birth certificate, but I am Native American. In fact, I even belong to a tribe, or I could. My family belongs to a tribe. I could join because I have a grandmother and a mother that both belong to the Mohegan tribe in Connecticut. So it'd be a simple matter of just signing up and being considered part of it. All right, with that context in mind, listen to this clip from Elijah Schaffer. Like, I really want to drill this home, give you an idea of who this guy is, okay?
Yeah, Native Americans, get the out of America. You're on stolen land that you stole. And you want to know why Manifest Destiny happened? Do you know why we took it back? Because we couldn't live with you on the land because you guys kept declaring war on us and kept declaring war and trying to take back land that we already traded and or bought from you.
I mean, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Trail of Tears, there was like a full-blown Native American genocide that took place. Like on par with the Armenian genocide in the early 1900s and, Rwandan genocide in 93. I mean, you shouldn't be comparing genocides or you shouldn't be comparing suffering like this, but there was definitely a genocide of Native Americans in the United States, for sure. Absolutely, and beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I guess this guy is like denying that?
Declaring war on us and kept declaring war and trying to take back land that we...
And he's blaming Native Americans for a civil unrest and problems between white colonizers and the natives, okay?
Back land that we already traded and or bought from you, and you did not understand property rights because you were savages, and that's why you got the name that you did. Unfortunately for you, that's what happened. Yeah. So you know what? It's just true.
Again, like in the background of this guy's, like I said, I'm Native American and could belong to a tribe if I wanted. In the background, you'll see it says slightly offensive with Elijah Schaffer. I'm not offended. This doesn't offend me at all, honestly. I just think you're a scumbag. It's like he's trying to intentionally be offensive to what? Like, what's the point? Why is he doing it? To, like, numb people to offensiveness? I don't know what the point is. Like, I'm not offended. I just think you're a piece of garbage. That's all. I guess he's saying that the Native Americans who were in the United States deserved to be genocided. It seems like that was the point of the clip. Now, we're about to come to the end of this segment on the most racist person. I got to figure out how to title this. The most racist public figure on the internet, or the most racist political commentator on the internet, we'll say. Maybe that's more apt. I'm not sure. He's competing hard with Stu Peters, man. But this is the intro that we listened to originally. Listen to the whole clip, the rest of it. The context behind this clip, by the way, came out November 15th, 2022. It was like right after Katie Hobbs won the gubernatorial race, the governorship, against Carrie Lake for Arizona. So Katie Hobbs is a Democrat. Carrie Lake is a right-wing nutcase. And Carrie Lake lost, okay? So Elijah Schaffer is about to just lose his mind over it.
Katie Hobbs is the projected winner. The race has been called by multiple sources as being completed. And the reason why it's been called...
You can hear in his voice, he's getting worked up. He's about to get pissed.
...is exactly what we've expected. And what Mark was saying was the fact that the races will always be called for the Democrat candidate when they've collected enough votes to win. And
no, knock me over with a feather. You're trying to tell me that when votes are counted and tallied up and it's like determined who the winner is, the most popular person takes the governorship? Wow, this is the first time hearing of it. I'm glad I have Elijah Schaffer here to fill me in on how politics works. That's great. Thank you, Elijah.
Votes to win. And in many of these states, there are theoretically more Democrat voters than Republicans. That's
really? You think? There are what does theoretically mean? No, there are more Democrats in the United States than Republicans by like a mile. The only reason Republicans ever win anything is because we live in a system that was kind of created to give landmass more of a more sway than human beings. People that live in cities don't always own property. They don't always have like a ton of money. They don't always have this or that, whatever. But people who are in rural areas, they probably own farms. That's property, property right. If you owned property, you were allowed to vote back in the day. The Electoral College, the representative democracy that we live under, was built to give the minority rich the ability to control and sway the system. And it's working as it was built. So here we are.
Are theoretically more Democrat voters than Republicans. That's why our founding fathers did not set up our republic to be a pure democracy.
Not a pure democracy. No, I guess it's not purely a democracy. It's a representative democracy.
They don't want stupid morons who haven't done in their life to be voting.
The founding fathers, maybe the founding fathers didn't want non-landowners to vote. They didn't want women to vote. They didn't want black people to vote. They only wanted like white men who owned land to vote. The elites. I don't own any land. Do you own land? I wouldn't be allowed to vote in that, in that world. But democracy has evolved a lot since then, and it's become something brand new. Well, not brand new, but it's become something different than it used to be. Democracy works the best when there are more people in the system participating. The more people involved, the better it works. And this guy is decrying. He's complaining about democracy right now, right? Saying that we shouldn't be using democracy, I guess.
All this movement that the left uses, on Instagram and Facebook, and go out and vote. No, don't vote, you fucking idiot. Don't vote. You are stupid. You are a degenerate piece of scum. Your existence.
That's me, I guess. I am who he's referring to here. The dude literally just referred to Native Americans as savages who were too fucking stupid to understand property rights. And he says that
piece of scum.
He said, I'm the piece of scum here, is what he said. Okay, go on.
You're a piece of scum. Your existence is menial. In fact, God loves you. Most of us don't. Your own family doesn't support you very much because you're intolerable.
Dude, he has this bizarre stereotype of somebody on the left, and he seems to think that everybody on the left is like this.
Your views are not well thought out. It's not your SSRIs and your depression, your mental illness that is making you miserable. It's
I'm not taking any of that stuff. What is he even talking about?
The fact that you don't live for anything, you stand for nothing, so everything gives you value. And you watch TikTok as a hobby. So your life...
Yeah, you don't want to watch TikTok, right? That's wrong. Ooh, boy. Watch TikTok and your whole life falls apart, apparently.
Hobby. So your life doesn't exist in any real substance. So no, you shouldn't vote.
Jesus Christ, dude. This guy has real deep problems. Again, I think I've made my point, right? I think I've made the point that this is probably the most racist public figure on the internet. Damn near it. He's close. But and we've hit non-whites, right? We've hit Native Americans specifically, and we've hit who else did we hit? Anybody on the left? I guess anyone to the left of hunting the homeless for sport. We've hit Jews, right? Forgot about that one. Dude doesn't like Jews either, and believe it or not, Elijah Schaffer did a bit about women too. Surprised?
The saying behind every good man is an even greater woman. I don't like that phrase. Yeah, I don't like that phrase. I think that's dumb. Behind every man is a strong woman that he leads as she takes care of his household, as she looks after his family, as she helps him to add value to the family, right? So he can focus on his work. But this idea that somehow...
By the way, you see the little Blaze icon in the corner, right? I don't know. My watermark might be covering it up. He was on the Blaze when this came out. This is not the thing that he was removed from the Blaze over. He also said all that stuff about Native Americans on The Blaze. That was from The Blaze set. They didn't care what he said. It wasn't until the allegations that he might have, hooked up with another dude, not until those came out that they decided not to renew the contract or they canceled the contract. I don't know.
Men don't have the capability to solve the issues. Guys, we caused these problems. We literally made the issues. You can blame it on women. We're the ones who gave them the right to vote. We're the ones who let them get into power. And
Roe
the
v.
fact
Wade
that
voted in by men.
Yeah, it was all Roe v. Wade was voted in by men, and then women, they did help take it apart, but it was catalyzed by Clarence Thomas, who was a man. And so the fact that we've gotten to a point in the world where they're saying,
so he's saying men are better, and we need to remove women's ability to vote. Ideally, in an ideal world, women wouldn't vote. In his mind, I guess. Apparently, neither would Jews or Native Americans or, hell, anybody that's not white. Anyone who's not a white landowning male, I guess. Jesus Christ, dude.
Got into a point in the world where they're saying, well, now we need to just give up, men need to shut up, they need to step back, and they need to just let women figure things out. Women can't even get along with each other. They can't even figure out their friendships. They're not going to figure out the country. Even there's plenty of lovely women out there who are strong leaders, who are bold, who have filled positions that men have given up, that men have chosen not to lead in. When women lead, it's a sign of a curse on a country, because if men are strong and they're leading the country well, women do not feel the need to lead.
Yeah, a woman is only as strong.
Dude, look at this guy's hat. I didn't know that they made hats this tall. This has got to be like a 10-inch hat or something.
Her husband.
Right, and that's
if a woman isn't is strong, or if she's a or whatever she's doing, it's because her husband isn't leading her properly.
What? If a woman isn't strong or she's a bitch or something, it's because her husband isn't leading her properly. What about single women, I wonder? Where do they factor into the equation?
If the husband doesn't have his house in check and the wife has to step in and fulfill that role, then your house gets out of line. Why are you surprised? You're the man of God. You're the man who's supposed to take control of your house, take control of your wife. And so if, starts breaking and, the house starts getting sideways, but you've been gone or you've been doing stuff partying, can you really be surprised because you abandon your post? And you need to, your wife is your post, and you have to make sure that you're leading her and telling her what to do, because she's not the leader of the household.
No, she's not. And I know a lot of people have different kinds of relationships, right?
That's psychotic, dude. That is straight up backwards. I can't even believe that they're openly saying this stuff. It's pretty clear how they feel about it right now.
I know a lot of people have different kinds of relationships, right? You have to understand, the empowering of women was meant to weaken men. It's meant to emasculate society.
Oh, okay, I see. So you're telling me that women being given the ability to take part in the democracy that we're in, that was intended to hurt men. The only reason that was done was to hurt men. Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Hit the nail on the head.
I'm dumbing a box of rocks in a lot of areas.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate your input on the subject. Insane. In all seriousness, let me give some real advice to Elijah Schaffer, okay? Let's get real for a second. Me being the Native American that I am.
Yeah, Native Americans, get the f*** out of America. You're on stolen land that you stole. And you want to know why Manifest Destiny happened? Do you know why we took it back? Because we couldn't live with you on the land, because you guys kept declaring war on us and kept declaring war and trying to take back land that we already traded and or bought from you. And you did not understand property rights because you were savages. And that's why you got the name that you did. Unfortunately for you, that's what happened. So you know what? It's just true.
Okay, so with that in the back of your noggin, let me give you some advice, Elijah. Give it up. I'm not offended by literally anything you say. You are just proving to me, you're just showing me more and more every day how much of a scumbag you really are. Now, if you don't want to be viewed like that, you can turn around. You can fix that. There are people every day that come from the left, go to the right, or come from the right, go to the left, or whatever. They give up ideas and beliefs and feelings and views and adopt new ones every single day. My advice to you, Elijah, is adopt views that don't make you look like a scumbag. And on top of that, we only get one go around, okay? Enjoy it while you're here. Don't hide in the closet. Come out. Don't go to CPAC to look for dudes. Find people that you want to be with. Find a man if that's what you want to do. Live your life. One go around, okay? That's what we get. And you're wasting it. You are wasting it screaming about how Native Americans are worthless and all of that other junk, instead of just living your life and being who you are. I'm not even going to recommend that this dude gets help at this point. I think that I don't even think that this is like a mental problem. At this point, I'm thinking that he's just seemingly obsessed with being the biggest scumbag alive and hiding that he's gay simultaneously. That's my opinion. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. I think it's pretty clear. Next up, prophet of God and Trump pastor Hank Kunneman got his start praying for Trump to win the election. Let's take a look back at some of the wild stuff this guy has said. I found some clips from like 6 years ago. This guy is something else. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon and check out my website and email list for early access to uncensored, ad-free, complete videos. All links are in the description. This guy on screen on the right, this is Hank Kunneman. He's a Trump pastor. On the left is his wife, Brenda. Now, they're both mega church pastors now. I don't know if they were at the time. This is 2019 when this clip came out. Late October 2019. Okay, now listen to what they have to say here. I think this is leading up to the 2020 election.
I want us to stretch our hand out and put one finger over our mouths as a prophetic sign that all the accusations, the lies, the agenda of evil shall be silenced.
Wait, am I using the right hand? Did he mirror, or am I mirrored? I can't even tell. I think I might be mirrored. I got to do this right or it won't work, right?
The lies, the agenda of evil shall be silent as the finger of God, as justice comes and silence and shuts the mouths and exposes their agenda, that it has no breath, no expression, no sound, no manifestation. Put your finger up to your mouth. We speak now. Shh.
So this is Hank Kunneman's attempt all the way back in 2019 to make Trump win the election and make people stop hating him?
Shh.
Okay. Well, that worked fantastically, didn't it? All right, let me ask you this. Do you think that Hank, like in the dead of night, when he's laying in the dark, head on pillow, and he's alone with his thoughts, do you think that it's knocking around in there somewhere? Maybe I'm false. Maybe I am completely full of it. Like, maybe I don't speak to God like I thought I did. The thing is, there are two people in the prophet relationship. God and the prophet. That's it. Those are the two. Now, if something goes wrong, if something was predicted incorrectly or the timing wasn't right or whatever, somebody was wrong. One of those two people in that relationship was wrong. Now, Hank Kunneman prophesied, claimed to receive divine information from God himself that Trump was going to win in 2020. And what happened when he didn't? When he lost? This happened.
Whether you think I'm false or not, if that's what you think, then you can take your opinion and you can shove it.
That's what he said to his church. No joke. I have that on my soundboard because I'm so entertained by it. So who was wrong, Hank? Was it you or was it God that was wrong? One of you was wrong. Check out this clip. This is from mid-February 2024. This is Hank Kunneman, well established at this point as a Trump pastor, effectively, defending Trump's, I guess, mean tweets. Is that what you call them? They're not even mean tweets. They're complete scumbag tweets, like talking about a woman that he is civilly liable for having raped, for example. It's the most recent. They're not tweets. They're on his platform, Truth Central or whatever it's called. That's the type of tweet that Trump puts out today. He is defaming and destroying the reputation of a woman, E. Jean Carroll, who he is civilly liable for raping. Does God justify that or what? That is the type of thing that Hank Kunneman calls mean tweets. Oh, witness intimidation, jury intimidation, all kinds of other things. Yeah, mean tweets, right? Okay, listen to what he says here.
Oh, I just think he is so mean. You know what? I realized something. You know, all of his tweets was nothing more than God speaking, whether he knew it or not.
God is speaking. And the message that he wanted to give to humanity is E. Jean Carroll is a lying, I guess. Is that like, I mean, I don't know if Trump said that, but that's kind of the point he was trying to get across with a lot of his tweets, right? E. Jean Carroll being the person that Trump is civilly liable for having. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like the kind of message that that God would deliver. Absolutely. That checks out.
Against an opposing kingdom and what they're trying to do. And you know what? If you think President Trump is bad, you would not like Elijah, because he stood up in first.
Okay, let me tell the story of Elijah real quick. Elijah was one of God's prophets, or one of God's, he was a prophet. Anyway, he claimed to have a special connection to God. There were non-Jewish people in the area. They claimed to have special connection to their God, I think Baal maybe. And so they go up on a mountaintop and they set up an altar to Baal. They set up an altar to Yahweh. And Elijah basically says, pray as long as you want to your God to light your altar. To like burn the offering that you have there or whatever, light it on fire. You have as long as you want. I'm going to stand here and wait. And when you're done, I'm going to light my offering with the power of Yahweh. I'm going to ask him to send fire from the sun to light it or whatever. Okay? That's the story. And of course, the Baal worshippers, the non-Jews, prayed for 12 hours, I think, or something, it says, until noon, and they finally gave up. And then, just like that, Elijah prayed, and boom, both altars lit up. Both the Baal one and the Yahweh one, I believe, is how the story goes. And that was proof that Elijah could speak to God, and so on and so forth. That's the story. And then Elijah mocked the others, the non-Jews. I think that's what the Bible specifically says. Then he mocked them or something.
Elijah, because he stood up in 1 Kings 18 and said, why are you caught between two opinions? Come on, bring me your Baal worship. Put your bull down. Call down fire. What do? They cut themselves. They bled, right?
Well, I mean, they prayed and all that junk, so...
No fire. And here's what he did. He goes, Elijah, I'll behave myself. But he mocked him. Okay, he wrote mean tweets.
Okay, so I guess he's saying that Elijah was the Donald Trump of the day? Am I reading this correctly? Elijah is basically Donald Trump in the sense that he mocked somebody? Okay, mocking somebody and intimidating witnesses in a trial, two completely different things. Mocking somebody, I guess what you could say... Or I guess you could say what I'm doing right now to Hank Kunneman to some degree is mockery, right? A little bit. This is not what Donald Trump does. I'm doing it respectfully. I'm not insulting him. I'm not calling him a moron or not worth anything or not saying I hope he dies or any of that, because it's not accurate. I'm having a good laugh at how ridiculous some of this stuff is, but I don't wish death on anybody. I don't think that he's stupid either. I don't think that all cult members are stupid. In fact, I think a lot of cult members are very intelligent. As Seth Andrews says, some of the smartest people around, including me and you almost certainly, came up with the most creative justifications to continue to believe their religious nonsense. There are some genuinely intelligent people out there. Like Thomas Aquinas, super smart guy. Wasted his energy on nonsense. Some of the smartest people come up with the most ridiculous explanations. I don't think Hank Kunneman is stupid. I don't hope he dies or any of that stuff. Mockery can be done in a respectful way, and I have to imagine that's how Jesus would do it. But who am I? I don't talk to God. Hank does, right? It's really weird how often this guy compares Trump to God or to Jesus, and it's kind of getting out of hand at this point. This one is from late March 2024. Listen to who he compares Trump to this time.
And they cried out for a deliverer. God, give us somebody. And God raised up Samson, remember, to help bring deliverance. Do you know what the people did? I
remember the story of Samson. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that the story where the dude had super strength given to him by God, and he was seduced by this woman, and she asked him, what's the source of your strength? And he trusted her so much that he told her that it was his hair. If his hair was ever cut, he wouldn't be strong anymore. So they came in and they cut his hair, and he couldn't do what he needed to do. So he prayed to God for one final burst of strength, and God granted it as he pulled the building down on them. He grabbed the pillars and pulled them down. I think that's how the story goes, right? Okay. How does this relate to Trump?
Do you know what the people did? They tied up their own deliverer that God sent and handed him over to the Philistines. This is what the evangelicals and the never know Trumper evangelicals, pastors and stuff done. They tied up a deliverer that God has appointed and anointed.
This is what the never Trumper evangelicals have done. They have tied up their deliverer, like Samson, like Jesus, like Elijah. No, not Elijah. Hank believes himself to be Elijah, the one that talks to God and communes with him and can prove so on and so forth. He's got the Elijah anointing, and that qualifies him to claim that Trump is like Jesus and Samson and so on and so forth. It's insane. It's absolutely nuts. I'm sorry, man. That is just unglued from reality.
A deliverer that God has appointed and anointed. When he's meant for your children, for you, and for this country. And it has nothing to do with him. It has everything. This is what people have got to be careful of. This is why when they write their lunacy and misquote us all the time.
Misquote us. Yeah. This is me misquoting him, okay?
You're touching God. You're touching what God has said and what God wants to do.
I'm touching God and his intentions and interests. Every time I write something down about Hank Kunneman, or anytime I talk about any of his videos, or, mock, or whatever, I'm touching God. God is in the equation. Now, you know what I really want to prove? And I feel I effectively proved it already. I want to prove that this guy is completely full of shit. That he does not have a relationship with God to any degree. Never has. Claims to speak with God, to commune with God, to have a special connection that nobody else has. Hold on, let me show you. Here's an example of Hank Kunneman claiming to be a prophet of God and explaining why he got his prophecies wrong and why you're wrong if you want to criticize him. I mean, it's this kind of thing.
Whether you think I'm false or not, if that's what you think, then you can take your opinion and you can shove it.
That's the corner that he backs into ultimately. But before getting to the you can shove it part, he gives us this kind of nonsense right here. By the way, this clip came out mid-May 2021.
There's been a lot of signing of petitions and accountability they're calling for the prophets.
Signing a petition. So people signed petitions to what? Get him out of his ministry so that somebody else leads the church? Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm down. He shouldn't have a ministry. There's a test. Deuteronomy 18:22. If what a prophet says does not come true, then he's lied. Then he doesn't have that connection to God. Then what he said was said presumptuously, and you should not fear him. God gave man a test to tell if somebody is claiming to speak for him or not. The test, if what he says doesn't happen, it was a lie. And the penalty for that, of course, is death. I don't believe in the death penalty for any reason ever. But this guy just can't accept the fact that he was wrong, even though people are apparently signing petitions. And when it finally reached a fever pitch and the petition sheet was signed and turned in.
Whether you think I'm false or not, if that's what you think, then you can take your opinion and you can shove it.
Dude, I wonder how many people he lost after his false prophecy. Any? Some, certainly, right? I mean, keep listening to this.
There's been a lot of signing of petitions and accountability they're calling for the prophets. I have no problem with the statement of accountability. And
I bet.
Prophetic. I have no problem with the statement to identify prophets and what they are and false prophets. What I have a problem with is their statement or their stance. A lot of times people, they're standing, it's amazing. Nobody wrote a letter and thanked me for all the years that I prophesied the other presidents and and even.
That's because it was an educated guess. It was a 50-50 thing, a coin flip. Anybody could have looked at the situation and guessed at it the way that Hank did. Of course, I didn't write in and thank you. There were, like, I don't know, 100 million other people saying, yeah, Obama is almost guaranteed to win in this situation because he's an incumbent, blah, blah, blah. That's not a prophecy.
President Trump, and no, but soon as something didn't look like it happened, boy, they jump on the bandwagon to attack you. And my question is, how many of those people that are...
As soon as something looks like it didn't happen... No, Trump lost. He lost the election. There's no proof otherwise. None. It isn't a, oh, it doesn't look like it happened kind of situation. It's a, you're wrong kind of situation. It's a Deuteronomy 18:22 type of deal.
Attack you. And my question is, how many of those people that are attacking, are you a prophet?
No, I'm a normal person that God gave power to justify me determining if somebody's a prophet or not. This was said to normal people, not to special prophets, not to special people, not to any of that stuff. This is for normal people. How do we tell that it really is God? How do we know? If what he says does not come true, he spoke presumptuously, do not fear him. Don't pay him any mind. Don't pay attention to him. Don't listen. Those are all different ways that it's translated in different Bible translations. I think Jehovah's Witnesses version says, don't be alarmed.
So how can you, the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 14 that the prophets are to judge the prophets. That's what it says. If a prophet is to prophesy.
Okay, well, sure, maybe prophets should judge prophets, but that doesn't mean that non-prophets can't also judge prophets based on Deuteronomy 18:22. He's just looking for a way to weasel out of being wrong here.
Prophesy, okay? Let the others judge, the other prophets. That's what he was speaking about. And so, are they prophets? Do they stand in a fivefold office of a...
And he determines who the prophets are. So if somebody is a self-proclaimed prophet or whatever, and they point out that he got that wrong, well, he determines if they're a prophet or not. Well, he just says, well, they're not prophets. That easy. Huh. Convenient.
They stand in a fivefold office of...
And by the way, what the hell is a fivefold office? If they don't stand in a fivefold office of a prophet, what?
So they stand in a fivefold office of a prophet. Second, do they have a positional grace and an authority by God? Just because you're a prophet doesn't mean that you might be called to be a prophet to the nation. Okay, there's different rank and file and responsibilities that are given to the prophets or to any fivefold office.
No, Hank, you lied. It's that simple. You can weasel your way out of it all you want. I can't believe the guy kept a congregation. Not only did he keep a congregation, but he has a mega church now, a mega church. He's a Trump prophet, claims to prophesy from God. This is like one of the most blasphemous things I think I've ever seen in my life. Now, I don't care about blasphemy. Again, I don't believe in the death penalty. I don't believe in any of this stuff. But my God, dude, does it get worse? Honestly? And again, when called on it,
whether you think I'm false or not, if that's what you think, then you can take your opinion and you can shove it.
This is just wild, dude. This guy's shameless. Let me know what you think about him in the comments. He's just straight up disgusting to me. That's all I've got for you. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check me out on Patreon. And take a look at my YouTube channels. Owen Morgan, where I talk about religious issues. Telltale Fireside Chat, where I talk about politics. Telltale Unfiltered, where I do long-form breakdowns of stuff like this, and Telltale Reads, where I read books by televangelists and others. I release everything in parts, but every part stands independently of the last, so you can jump in anywhere and I'll make sure it makes sense. You can find some ad-free, uncensored, complete versions of all my videos on my website, owenmorgan.com. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for my email list to get early access to everything. All links are in the description. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.